of course, you know, by Tuesday we're heavy into our practice and routine, and some of y'all I'm talking to for the first time or second time since the last week. And so, you know, as you worry after a loss like that, how will you respond? It's all about respond. How do you respond? How do you from that type of loss? And everything has been like I hoped it would be. We've worked very hard Monday, which for Monday's practices, which are not supposed to be. They're supposed to be correction days and conditioning days, but we did our work and had a very tough practice today. And the players were very attentive and focused, and you just don't see any lingering effects of the tough loss. You don't see, because you don't. On one hand, you don't allow it to happen. You just carry on a very intense practice, try to have it just like usual, and the players respond just like usual. And so I think we're moving forward exactly like we did last week, and it was a tough loss, but we're totally focused on this game and on what we've got to do. And I really believe that after the game, although the loss was close and it was a little different type of loss than what we had against Central Florida, and after watching Central Florida play against Ohio State, I think it was a pretty daggone good football team. It's still boiled down to us again focusing on ourselves, our players getting better and correcting mistakes. Like Dalton Williams throws 5 touchdowns and it looks good, but he knows. I'm not sure grade-wise it was better than the week before, because we have to short passes and getting us into the right plays and things like that. So we've all agree, our coaches, our players, that we need to continue to improve this week, and good things will happen down the road. I just hope for questions, and if I think of something, I'll say it as y'all are talking.
How are you injury-wise? You talked about Pugsley last week.
Pugsley, Pugsley, I told you, if you limp, I'm not going to play. He didn't limp, but he still is effective. He gave up a couple sacks. He can't get back, and so he's got to. I'm gonna watch him this week, because to play him, and that was a pretty athletic team Saturday, and they got around him twice. But I think a little bit of that's still the lingering effects of that ankle. But he played the whole game, and so he should be better this week regardless, because it didn't re-injure. It's just gradually healing ankle. So I imagine he'll get better now that he's was able to get through the game on that play. But other injuries, Hakeem Lawrence, a little bit. He had a slight separation in the first half. Could have gone back the second half, and did, but we didn't put him back in.
That shoulder?
A shoulder, and he's practicing, but with a red shirt on. But when we tried to put him back in, we asked him if it hurt. He says only when he gets tackled. And I said, they are tackling out there, so we maybe ought to keep you on the sideline. But he's a slight. He's one of those little backs that you don't need to have it when he's nicked up. I just don't think he's going to be effective. So we'll let him heal and see how a freshman does with injury. High school they might sit for a while, or nobody hits you like they hit you in college. But he's a shoulder, but it's I don't even know which one it is. But again, the trainer said he can play every snap if he can play with some pain, because it's not going to get hurt worse. It didn't come out enough to make a problem, and so it's one of those where his youth and his size, he'll just have to tough through it and see how he responds. As a freshman, you just have to let him see how he goes.
Coaches, you prepared for Morgan State. They had that shootout last Saturday at Buffalo. What did they do? As you look at them, do they do anything different offensively than what you see from? No,
they've got some good athletes, and they have some good athletes. Buffalo for the first half, it was they'd give up a touchdown, get a touchdown, give a touchdown, and Buffalo pulled ahead about 20 and kind of held on to that lead. But Buffalo was scoring at ease and their offense is not like ours. It's a power. It's more of a Central Florida type offense. So Buffalo did overpower them. Finally, quit playing around with different type of things and off tackle right and off tackle left. But they could not stop Morgan State. Morgan State has a back that's averaging about 120 yards a game, and they mix it in with the pass pretty good, and they have some athletic people. So defensively, we're going to be the big challenge. They average 32 points a game. They beat Sacred Heart in overtime, so they've shown they can not quit. They're not going to fight. They're going to keep fighting. we just got to come. I mean, we got to get better. I mean, we got to go out there and play our best football. They're not. I don't believe they're going to be as talented as the two teams we played before. Obviously, we're not. Our kids, we're not playing Central Florida, but we've got to play better because this team is good enough to line up and beat you if you don't.
What you mentioned preseason. There's a lot of things you can do offensively, the scheme and
right.
whatever. But defensively, you got what you
got to have football players.
Yeah.
I don't believe you can scheme people defensively. I think you have to recruit defenses, and you got to let people.
So my question was, after 2 games, where are you with that? Are you at a point where, hey, maybe we need to move some people over here?
I don't think there's anybody else. I think that they've looked for everybody. I know I was talking to Chuck on the side of the day. We just went down the roster. Is there anybody that can take? Right now, you're talking about some guys that can back up and get in and take some snaps away from guys. I mean, Capone, one of our best players, and Coach Stroud's comments were he needs to play 20 less plays a game. Where can we find 5 players from this guy, 7 players from that guy that we can find to get him in there so we can play at his intensity level? So it's kind of unusual where you have a guy that you don't want him to play more plays, you want him to play less plays. So I think they can do those things as much as they can. They're maxed out on ideas there, but like our offense, they can play better. I think we've talked to 2 coaches that we've played. We have friends on the staffs of the teams that we played that have commented to our coaches about the intensity level of our defense getting to the ball and running the ball, but we're not able to completely shut people down right now.
So there's nobody. You're not looking at moving people around.
I don't think there's anybody left to move around. There might be a safety that plays ahead of another safety, or a corner that gets more work in nickel and dime, but really there's no linebackers left to look at. There's nobody. I think the younger. What's that? Huh?
No lineman you can flip or?
No lineman that we have that have the skills on defense. He uses a very smaller, faster defensive lineman. We moved Bailey over there to back up, get 5 or 6 snaps. Mm-hmm. We maybe could take the freshman Christian Allen, who played defensive end a little bit, and get them some snaps. But I'm not sure they need to waste a red shirt for that. But we really don't have a lot of more guys to put in. I think it's a matter of us just again getting better and hopefully matching up athletically with people on our schedule a little closer than maybe what we matched up with before. Again, we have played 2 teams. Whether FIU proves it to be true, they both were predicted to win their conferences respectively, and we were predicted to come in last, and ours or next to last or whatever it is. And so I think defensively they are doing about everything they can. I've got a lot of confidence in Coach Amada and his ability to look at his people and put them around. And we just got to go as best we can. Offensively, we got to be better, and defensively, we got to be a little better. And hopefully, it'll come together.
Are the number of snaps that they're getting affecting the way you guys play against the run?
The number of snaps other teams against them?
No, that's your defense.
Yeah, obviously, if you could, there's going to be some more snaps when your offense gets. We've gone 81 and 88 plays. We're also going through series every time too. If you're not as they get stronger, they get off a few more 3 and outs. First half, they had the first drive and the last drive, and they pretty much control the game from their standpoint. The entire first half, we control the clock, possession of the clock in that game. We had possession more to defense in both halves, and then and that's pretty good for as fast as we play. But defensively, all these things are a problem when you don't have enough players, and that's what they have. So does our defense, does our style of play, a number of plays they're in, affect the run game? Yes, is the answer to your question.
Well, the cumulative snaps that they're getting right now. At what point does that worry you, though?
I don't worry at all. There's nothing I can do about it. We're not going to be very good offensively in what we're doing if we slow down. Now, if we get more, but you got to remember, I think about that a lot, because if I'm playing fast and get 3 and outs and put the defense on the field over and over again, but I can't go backwards in what we're doing. You could say, well, let's go back, get in the I formation, let's go back and run slower down the thing, run the ball, lay on the ball, get up slower, start the clock slower, 25-second clock, get the game over slow, take a lot more clock off. I don't think we're moving forward that way. I think defense understands what they're trying. They're trying to play fast too. We don't have enough guns, and hopefully as we get closer to the level of competition, I believe that we've played a team, but I think right now FIU probably pretty close to what we play in our league, and top of our league in Central Florida right now is a little bit better. And we got to move into we got to get as good as we can, and hope we start to match our athletic ability, our abilities with our opponents. I mean, the only thing I'll be honest with you, all your we got to get better at the little things. It's a new staff, new style of offense, new style of defense. We got the players that we have, and that's what we've got. What we got's available is what we have available. I think that was Paul Brown or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
What we have available is what we have available.
That's right. I'm still learning your style of offense, like some of your players are. I don't know, when you evaluate the quarterback or the offense, I would think in the type of style you run that 50% passing would be not what you're looking for.
Right, that's why I said he didn't grade out his side. But
Right.
I was so glad, very important, we came and said, we got to hit the big ones. This team's very athletic. They're going to come after us. They're going to pressure us where they're faster than they were, than USCCF was thick. And we got to hit our shots. We knew we'll try the wheel. We'll try the delay up the middle. We hit the back up the middle. And he hit those, and they missed another one he could have had to LT. But as far as a couple little, we dropped more passes this week than the one before, and then we are checking to our screens, and almost those are always your high percentage, your screen. Every one of them were negatives because we checked into things that were covered. They were a little too close. If they're a little bit more off, we don't check into. He checked into screens that were just too tight for us to execute. And all of a sudden they're minuses and minuses. So those are little things as we communicate with each other. I really like the way he runs our offensive man. We'd be in trouble, I think, if he wasn't there for us. Because as Kyle comes along, he's going to learn that. I think he's been a blessing to us. All of our players feel the same way. But he's got to take. It's his first year ever starting too, and so. But I think if we just catch the easy passes that we dropped, he's probably throwing 55%, and then he corrects the mistakes. We're doing the plays that we would think of would really in our type of play, the bubble screens and the missiles, the tunnel screens are just hot. We had every one of them are negatives because first two games these people are playing them a lot better than what we're practicing them. And we got to decide whether we need to leave. Wait till they give those to us before we take them.
Let me go another route. We talked about the offense, about the defense. How about the special teams? I know Stein missed a toughie in overtime.
Stein is our kicker, and he's kicking about like he kicks in practice. He tries so hard. He misses. He gets about 75% in practice or 60% in practice. He's going to kick in the game like he kicks in practice. He's got to keep pushing and pushing, and know that as we try to build his field goal, and he hit a critical field goal that. If he doesn't miss the extra point, that may make it too much for them to ever come back and kick a field goal at the end. And he knows that, so he's doing as best he can. But the field goal he missed was a little bad snap, on that one. But the punting our punting returns went from lousy to one of the best of the nation. So we improved that area. Kickoff coverage was outstanding. Punt, they returned a punt for a touchdown. So overall. You look at their mistakes on punt and ours, we won the punt game. We won the kicking game overall Saturday, which we had to do. But it's just like our offense and defense. And little things that we have. But as we look today, too, I held all of our freshmen and people that are ineligible, like just sitting out of here, and said, man, we have problems right now because we have to put our first teamers on all of our special teams because we need y'all to develop. In the office, this is your year to develop because we don't have a strong 85 as far as being ready to play. And so our the first thing that starts to get hurt is your special teams because they get so tired. I mean, for us to have March, who's really a phenomenal player for us, starting on the punt team where you can get cut, you can get cracked on, you can get hurt. You'd like to have him and Mangum not playing on your starting punt team if you can get them off. We can't take them off because of lack of players. So we're trying to do, so in all those areas, the special teams, we working real hard and trying to emphasize real hard, and I think we don't have a great return. We haven't found that return team yet. So I made them stay in the end zone every day. The first one was a minus. That's a poor coaching job on my part because he was 4 yards deep and he should have sat with it. He came out to the 16. We put every one of them we just set on them every one of them, and we had them on a 25 every time, which we'll take.
Can you comment on a couple of the guys that are fairly new to receivers, which would be like Goodman and Durazio, looked Zach especially. Two freshmen.
Yeah, two freshmen. Durazio is a redshirt freshman, but I mean, and Durazio, Durazio is he's a big body, and he got 3 catches Saturday. They were important to us, and we need that. And so that was important to us. Terrell Goodman, I mean, he's just a freshman who's never played the position before. And he made some key catches, but he had a drop, which you'd expect. We just sometimes I expect he's got that good frame, that body, physical body that you want to line up with and throw it, a good target. But he catches in a game like he catches in practice. He's thinking about his routes, he's thinking about how many steps he's taken, and he drops the ball because he's thinking so much about how to be a receiver. But they are getting better. D'Orazio's kind of a natural athlete. You know, he was a gym rat, his dad, being a coach from Cuyahoga Heights, and he's a real good addition to have him back healthy. But overall, we're developing. The receivers are really developing. You know, and we just need to get better at what we're doing.
The running backs still haven't sorted that out of one or two that.
No, everybody's doing some good things. You know, I mean, the most, Chisholm came out. Juwan Chisholm came out and made those 2 great catches because he has such good hands and runs well, catches well downfield. Connor Hundley had some powerful runs up there. You know, he's a 215-pound tailback that can probably better at short yardage. And Hakeem still had the best average until he got banged up. Quentin didn't quite get the opportunities. So I in my mind, I think I'm seeing some direction there, but I don't think we've got to use all of them in circumstances, you know, that we can until one steps out a little bit more.
You mentioned 4 guys there. I think it was 4.
I didn't mention Quentin Hines as much, but he just didn't get. He didn't get as much opportunity in that game.
But Alexander was one you didn't.
The fullback, he's more of a that fullback position he plays more of that position now than the tailback position.
I was going to say, is he a guy that you could?
I think his skills are more in our offense. I think he fits more the fullback, and now what we got to do is make sure we get him involved in our passing game a little more.
No, I was thinking about defense. He's not a guy.
No, I don't think. I didn't have any. I mean, I don't think that. I don't. You know, and that's a question I don't know the answer to. But it's like, okay, they've asked for everybody that they've asked for. You know, and I don't think they see him at the place that because he's kind of more of a safety type of skill guy, not a linebacker mentality, I think, and so I don't think they saw him as one that would take away what they need.
You said the other day that was a devastating loss on Saturday. But how did the team take it? I mean, are they seeing some light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I think they took it very well. I mean, you hate to say, boy, I hope they don't take it too well, because God dang it, it's got to hurt. I mean, if losing doesn't hurt, you don't respond accordingly, but you do need to get over pretty quick. They kind of, I think, went through the same thing I went through. I think I was more sick for them. I've had these and those. It makes me sick to lose it. But it was more for the players and what I'm wanting them to see and have. They were at the end of the game. It was just. It's devastating because it was so close. It was so, you had it right there in your hands, and just you had it in your hands. And so those are the harder kind. You know, when you get wiped out, you kind of got your press conference speech about third quarter. You know, as a coach, and those times are just devastating. But as you come back and watch the film and the players see what they can do to get better and know that they're still moving in the right direction, they really recover well. I worry a little bit because so many of all the comments were pats on the back. Greatest, boy, that's the best we've played in years. That's the best this. But, well, you know, thanks but no thanks. We still can't feel like we're not there yet. We've got to continue to move forward. And I'm saying you got to remember there's. This one this week there's no sympathy, and the field of competition doesn't sympathize with the people's choice of who deserves to get a win now. It's about continue doing the hard work. So, long answer to your question. That devastation, but that's a big word to have for just miserable. You know, after a loss, miserable, not able to sleep, and just feeling sick about it, and recalling every play that you called and every play that we did, and the players redoing that. Then by Monday, we look at it and say, well, we get better. And then, you know, by the afternoon Monday, too many people have patted you on the back. Now you're worried about the other side. Do they think this next one's going to just come to them because they, you know, you can make if you don't work hard, you can take a step backwards. But I think they've gone through the normal progress, the normal progression of getting beat, tough loss and moving forward.
How are you expecting them to respond?
I expect them to play better. I expect them to go out there hungry for a win, hungry and have to have it. And I mean, the will to win. It's like, because the team this week is not as strong as the last two. You know, everybody. I mean, this is Morgan State. It's not UCF or FIU. They're not in Division I conferences. You know, it's a 1AA football, and but we happen to be the losingest team in the country over the last 2 years, and we need a win. So I expect them to be hungry, and know that if they don't come out on fire, play the best they can play, we'll have a very hard time winning a football game, because we're progressing, but we're not there yet.